Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football G's up there. Um, this is a hard one. This is a really hard one. In fact, I think we're going to pour a refill here. All right.
I suppose when they really understand and the more shows are doing, more time to talk about it, because like, oh my
I
God,
want you guys to take your heart out of the equation. Stop thinking with your heart. Tony Romo's nominated for the College Hall of Fame. That's great. Tony Romo had a fantastic career. The fact that he was an undrafted player and ended up being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys was incredible. The games that he had, some of the moves that he made, where he ran away from J.J. Watt, where J.J. Watts had him dead to rights.
And I got to a point where I exploded like a
Rolls out, gets away from him, and hits Terrence Williams. Boom. He got let down by the officials. Catch, no catch. Some of the teams he had didn't have the best sporting cast around him. But here's the thing. Tony Romo is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's just because you like that. It's nothing to do with Dak Prescott. Because all the arguments that people keep making why he should be in the Hall of Fame don't hold water. You know, they'll say, well, you know, he didn't have the best teams around him. Well, it's not about the teams around him. It's about what were your numbers? What did you do? And people will say, well, he was one of the best regular season quarterbacks ever. Regular season. Regular season. In the end, what ends up mattering, I'm sorry, but it's playoffs and Super Bowls. I tell you what, if you say Tony Romo should go in, then Drew Bledsoe should be a Hall of Famer. Do you believe that Drew Bledsoe is a Hall of Fame quarterback? Because in order to put Tony Romo in, you'd have to put in Drew Bledsoe. Now, some of the things that are working against Tony Romo is right now, look at the guys in his era. You got Tom Brady. You got Peyton Manning. You got Drew Brees. You've got Aaron Rodgers. You've got Big Ben. All of them. Oh, and I could actually put Eli Manning, who was a two-time Super Bowl MVP. I don't think Eli should be in there because other than those two Super Bowl years, meh. But that's six guys that have rings. And here's the thing, and like I said, I'm not trying to do this to bury Tony Romo, because Tony Romo was a great player, and there's a lot of great players. Because here's the reality. There is 318 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 318. Now, right now, there's about 1,600 players a year on the active rosters. You know, and then, of course, some are going to be coming and going because of injuries and things like that. So you figure that in the 100 years of the NFL, there's probably been about 100,000 or more NFL professional players. And understand, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is not owned by the NFL. It's it's all professional football. And it's not owned by the NFL, like I said. So you're talking about this much of the players. And there's 26 quarterbacks in the modern era right now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So let's just go through. This is a ranking from 2017. I don't think anybody else has been put in. Maybe Kurt Warner has. I don't know. We may be missing one. But let's go down to the list. Now, the ones like George Blanda, I'm not going to really go through. I mean, George Blanda, he's older than I am. But Joe Namath, you got to remember, he guaranteed a Super Bowl victory. Okay, granted, the running back did most of the That time, Broadway Joe brought into the modern era, and it basically helped get the leagues to merge.
Had quite a journey, especially getting to the very
Ken
first sport
Stabler,
and being the
the
heavyweight
Snake.
champion, and then
He
fighting
played for
through
14
once
years,
adopted
Super Bowl
like you
champion.
said,
Okay.
fighting demons. Take us through
Sonny
what brought you there,
Jurgensen
and we'll talk
went to a
about it.
Super Bowl with the Redskins, and the Redskins were perennial losers. So there's always that. But look, back when they didn't really pass, 3,200 yards, 32,000 yards, 255 TDs when they didn't throw it. Bob Greasy, the perfect team. Okay, two-time Super Bowl champion. Bob Waterfield, we won't. It's 1952. Bobby Lane, hell, just the fact that you actually had the Detroit Lions winning, you know you should be in there. Len Dawson, Kansas City Chiefs, okay, part of those two Super Bowl championships. Dan Fouts, which brought in the modern passing, Air Coryell, and basically that's where Joe Gibbs learned from with the Chargers. Warren Moon, 49,000 yards, plus 21 in the in Canadian League. Kurt Warner, okay, from bagging groceries to 2 Super Bowls, okay, greatest show on turf. Actually, 3 Super Bowls with the Cardinals. Jim Kelly, 4 Super Bowls in a row. We know he didn't win them, but he went to 4 Super Bowls. Y.A. Tittle will skip, of course. Troy Aikman, great team around him, and this whole thing of, the quarterback can only succeed, that can only succeed because he has people around him. Well, Troy Aikman literally had everything around him. Best offensive line in football, #1 defense, had a Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper and a Hall of Fame running back, not to mention Jay Novacek. So, yeah, but still, 3 Super Bowl rings. Bart Starr, Titletown, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Fran Tarkenton, okay, part of Minnesota, didn't win the Super Bowl, but 47,000 yards back when they really didn't pass. And that dude, he was running around like a crazy man. I remember those days when they used to play outside in the snow. Steve Young, only 1 Super Bowl ring, but, won a Super Bowl. Norm Van Brocklin, we can skip. Bradshaw, hate that guy, 4-time Super Bowl champion. Roger the Dodger, okay, went and played in 3 Super Bowls, okay, winning 2. I'm sorry, 4 Super Bowls, winning 2. Otto Graham, still, we'll go past. Brett Favre, okay, the original gunslinger. Dan Marino is one of the few ones that are in there without the ring, but Dan Marino passed for 61,000 yards. Big numbers. John Elway, 4 Super Bowls, winning 2. Okay, 300 TDs. Johnny Unitas, again, another quarterback that threw for the Colts back when the Colts were the thing. 290 TDs. And Joe Montana, 4 rings. Now, I ask you, honestly, stop being a Dallas Cowboy fan, okay? Because in the Cowboys' mind, everybody should be Hall of Fame. Honestly, look at that. You tell me that Tony Romo deserves to be in that group. Okay. All right. Back to Drew Bledsoe. If you're looking at me like cross-eyed, because here's what happens. People will come up with excuses. This is the thing that, West Coast is always so professional, but you could see him blow his top last night. Literally, he was completely out of control. He went through and it was basically, or something, maybe it wasn't him, but maybe it was a comment, but somebody said, well, he lost his job to Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott shouldn't have had it. Okay. You know that happened to Drew Brees, right? I mean, Drew Bledsoe. Tony Romo got the job from Drew Bledsoe. So it's the exact same thing that happened with Dak. It's the natural progression of things. Exclusively on ESPN Plus. Steve Young did it too. Joe Montana. It's what happens. Okay? Guys get older. You get somebody younger who stays healthy, who costs less money. But here's the thing. If we go through the numbers, this is where you have to start saying, all right, passing TDs. As we go through, remember, we got 26 quarterbacks in the modern era in the Hall of Fame. You got Peyton Manning, 539. Drew Brees, okay, 520. Tom Brady, 517. Brett Favre, 508. Dan Marino, 420. Phillip Rivers, 374. Ben Roethlisberger, 363. Eli Manning, 260. Fran Tarkenton, 342. Aaron frickin' Rodgers, 338. John Elway, 300. Matt Ryan, 295. Carson Palmer with 294. Warren Moon, 291. Johnny Unitas, 290. Vinny Testaverde, 275. Joe Montana, 273. Dave Craig, 261. Sonny Jurgensen, 255. Dan Fouts, 254. Drew Bledsoe, 251. Notice I had not said Tony Romo's name yet. Then there's Tony Romo at 248. Drew Bledsoe's got more touchdowns. All right, so passing.
We're seeing someone work the bags right here.
Take a look at how many yards. I mean, Drew Brees leads the NFL, 274,000 is still playing. Peyton Manning, 71. Brett Favre, 71. Tom Brady, 70. Dan Marino, 61. Ben Roethlisberger, 50. Do I need to go down this list? Do I need to go all the way down to, well, actually, I can go down to 15. And there's Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe at 15. Tony Romo's not there yet.
To be honest,
You have to go all the way down
I didn't know what I was watching. Obviously, I was watching
to
a load of
32nd,
Yeah.
where guys like Steve DeBerg, Jay Cutler, Matt Hasselbeck, Donovan McNabb, Boomer Esiason, Dave Craig, Joe Flacco, Matthew Stafford,
About the same.
who's still playing, has more yards than Tony Romo. I know you're cussing me out right now, and I know I'm going to get the hate, but I've just got to stop. You've got to stop the madness. Okay. How about wins? Now, part of the thing with wins are the teams that you're on and how long you play. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, John Elway, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Fran Tarkenton, Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana, Eli Manning. Damn, Eli's 11th. Phillip Rivers, Terry Bradshaw, Matt Ryan, Warren Moon, Jim Kelly, Aaron frickin' Rodgers, Donovan McNabb, Dave Craig, Drew Bledsoe, 18th. I'm going to skip some of these names. We'll go all the way to 47 for Tony Romo.
What an athlete, what a quarterback.
So,
with a football and
back to my
dangerous
original
with his
hypothesis.
legs.
Tony Romo should be in the Ring of Honor immediately. But I'm sorry. Because when you look at the errors, there's not that many in the, say, the group of 10. Right now, like I said, you know Tom Brady was 6 rings. You know Drew Brees, who helped to turn a perennial losing team, New Orleans, into winners and winning a Super Bowl. We're talking about the team that originally had bags over their head. Okay? Aaron Rodgers, the bad man, his numbers in the Super Bowl ring. Big Ben, 2 Super Bowl rings. Eli Manning, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. And that's before I get to other guys like Matty Ice, who have lots of yardage and numbers, and other guys. So the thought that Tony Romo deserves, and I hear what you guys are saying, but here's the final nail in the coffin. And actually, I don't have that up.
I can do that too.
D Hobbs, do you feel like you could ever overthrow him, or where he can't get to the
And I know some of you, I'm hurting some people's feelings, but here's the thing.
Give him a shot, because either he will come down with it or nobody will.
I think I helped last night West Coast realize that the numbers don't put them there. Sentiments maybe, but here's the dark part of this equation.
How about those guys in front
Playoffs.
of you? You went and got some offensive linemen in the draft. How do you expect that those guys will
In
change
6
things up
games
front?
in the playoffs,
I know you want to get away from the 62 sacks
8
that you
TDs,
had last year.
2 interceptions. What it works out to is 219 yards, 1.3 touchdowns per game. And I'm sorry,
Very smart. They love the game of
rings
football.
and playoffs are
It's just
what
gonna,
they
you know,
look
be able
at
to,
number
like I said,
wise.
competition is
Again,
the biggest thing. So I
the only
can
guys that you see in there that haven't won a
really get the
title,
ball out. 'Cause if you get
Dan
the ball
Marino,
out,
who
you can
blew
make
away the
sure,
passing
you know,
records,
the receivers
Warren
get
Moon,
open,
who
and
had
then
4
O-line
years of
got to
over
block.
4,000
You
yards,
guys went on
was
a 9-game
NFL
win streak at one
MVP
point last year,
twice.
but I don't know if you got all the credit
Other
that
than
you
that, it's
deserved for
all
that.
guys
Really
that have
what to
rings.
make of it, because
Tony
it does
Romo
fit your team. The way you
literally
were
is
playing
doubled
weren't all that
and
impressive.
then
I
some
was
in
looking on the
yardage.
schedule this year.
Tony Romo
Saints,
is doubled
Jags,
and then some
Chargers,
in
Panthers,
TDs
Falcons,
by other
Chiefs,
players.
Colts. Is it
The
possible
numbers
the
just
schedule
aren't
makes you
there.
maybe
And we as Dallas
overcompensate
Cowboy
a little
fans
bit
feel
this season?
we're entitled. He's great.
Hey, for me,
But your
honestly,
mind is focused on
I like
only
the
what you
schedule.
see.
Yeah,
It's
last year
like
it was
David Carr saying that Joe Montana, he's not in my top 10 because he never saw him play.
no matter if you
And if you had seen what I have seen in my 53 years of life, you would say, yeah, he's a good quarterback, but he's not a Hall of Famer. So go ahead and leave me your hateful comments. But I will love to, it's just don't tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me why you think that Tony Romo is a Hall of Famer. I'll be more than happy to discuss you with the numbers. But for me, I try and take the heart out of the equation, and I try and be analytical. And you look at the numbers, you look at the data, and the data says he's not there. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you guys soon.